Separatists have kept most schools in Western Cameroon closed for the last 4 years. Anyone trying to reopen them is intimidated, attacked, and perhaps killed.
How does a community like this build a future with children who do not go to school?
Pastor Roland Arrey is fighting back nevertheless. In the village of Numba, he's setting up a recreation centre between the two fronts and risking his life as he does.
I had to intervene in situations, but I was not sure if my head would come back.
Can he win his battle for education? There have been no lessons at the Numba village school since 2016. Separatists destroyed the interior and forced the teachers to flee.
The school symbolizes a lot for every community that aspires for development and growth. Looking at it, it's so painful. Beyond the physical structure, the human structure is destroyed.
Numba is located in Western Cameroon. When the country gained independence in the 1960s, its French and English-speaking regions were merged. On paper, Cameroon has 2 official languages, 2 educational systems, and 2 legal systems. But in reality, the English-speaking minority says the French-speaking government in the distant capital has been oppressing them and discriminating against them for years. There were peaceful mass protests in 2016. The government responded with violent suppression. We made our first visit to Numba 2 years ago. Along the way, we were stopped by armed resistance fighters at several checkpoints. They're fighting for their own country, Ambazonia, and they forced the schools to close in hopes it would place pressure on the government. Back then in Numba, we met Pastor Roland Arrey by chance. He and the local people are living between the fronts, with government troops on one side and separatist forces on the other.
Okay. They patrol this place. It's difficult because both parties are not saying anything that can give you some consolation or some hope.
Because the school was closed, Pastor Arrey back then planned to set up a place where the children could at least meet to play. 2 years later, we're visiting him again, and a shimmer of hope has grown out of the clergyman's initial idea. It's an alternative school. The children are in attendance 3 times a week.
We are trying to give them a light, you know, the basics of what they need in life, reading, writing, arithmetic.
Came up with a plan.
The teachers are volunteers from the village, like Videsh Egba. The 20-year-old herself had to leave school early because of the crisis.
I'm here to teach the children what I know, the little I know. I've not gone to school so far, but I'm happy they are trying to pick up. They are picking up very well. I like what I'm doing. I like to help my community. I like to help the little kids.
Videsh would like to go back to school herself, graduate, and then become either a nurse or a doctor. But right now, she's just fighting to survive.
We don't have markets to buy things to eat in the house, all those things like that. We don't have. The money is there to buy, but the things are not there. The goods are not coming that we should buy now to eat in the house. Like I'm talking to you now, we have nothing in the house to eat. Nothing. We have nothing in the house. Plantains are there, cocoyams, but there's nothing to prepare soup or the vegetables, all those things like that. Nothing in the house. Like fish, meat, any other thing. We don't have.
Videsh became pregnant shortly after the crisis began, and now has to look after her little daughter as well as herself.
Say you're fine. Mother. Baby. Mother. Talk now. They should allow us to have freedom to do something. The freedom to live around like normal human beings. Like at times you are scared here. You will sit in the house, hear guns everywhere, just bash, 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 bash. You'll be scared. So we are not feeling fine at all.
Videsh takes us to her aunt's house, or what's left of it. A year ago, the separatists set it on fire.
They came with a motive that we are blacklegs, which means that we are like informers, like we carry message to the military people. So that's how they came. When they came like that, they started shooting guns, seriously, shooting guns to like frighten us. They scare us. We had nowhere to go. The soldier asked me to give him a machete so that he can use it to slaughter us, to kill us. But he will start by killing my husband so that I will take my 2 eyes and witness it before you come to me.
She was able to flee, and her husband survived, but was seriously wounded. In the government hospital, they first refused him treatment and accused her husband of being a separatist himself. Pastor Roland Arrey hears stories like this one every day. Separatists and government troops are fighting to dominate each other, and if people suffer, then it's the other side that's always to blame.
I've seen both the military and the boys brutalize people. I've seen them do things that are inhumane. Some of them are really nice, they're trying to be nice, but others are, I'm sorry to say, but they're brutes. They don't care. They talk to people anyhow, treat people anyhow, you know, because I think they have a license to do what they want to do with anybody. I mean, I've once been told, Father, don't give us this, I'm going to shoot you and throw you here. I have nothing to lose. Told me that to my face.
We drive back to the regional capital, Bamenda, passing checkpoints where security forces are drinking openly and extracting bribes. At another checkpoint, a group of separatists stops us. They're ready to talk.
The people have to contribute money when they come here at the checkpoint, or?
Yes, at times to contribute a little bit money that we can help to have food, to feed ourselves, even clothe ourselves at times.
They say they're protecting civilians from the military, but they're really who's behind the attacks on the schools. The separatists are running their own disinformation campaign.
The solution is that they should leave our land and our properties to us. Yes, that's our solution. We need separation and nothing more than that. That's what we need.
So you're not, and if that is not reached, you're not willing to put down the weapons?
I'm not willing, and I will never do it. I will fight till my last breath.
Is the government at least trying to resolve the conflict? Paul Achabang is the mayor of Bamenda and a member of the party of Paul Biya, who's been president of Cameroon for almost 4 decades.
He keeps on appealing on a daily basis, offering them amnesty, releasing those who have been captured, providing them shelter, giving them a place of reformation. These are all the attributes of his fatherly nature.
Meanwhile, President Biya hasn't visited the region once since the crisis. A few hours later, we heard renewed gunfire and an explosion.
For how long, Daddy? For how long will your people cry? Forgive us, Father.
8-year-old Nassau was the victim. Separatists and soldiers were shooting it out in front of his house. He went out after the firing stopped and a grenade exploded.
I don't know why God allowed it, but I think He has a reason. May His will be done, may His name be glorified. All I can say is, Father, thank you. Oh, but Lord, have mercy on us. For how long will this go on? For how long?
A few schools are back open in Bamenda the next day, but under military protection. Many children don't put on their uniforms until they reach the school gates, out of fear they could be attacked or kidnapped. This school was attacked and set on fire in November. Alleged separatists, who released this video a short time later, forced them to undress. Back in Numba, there's news that someone important is coming to give them a pep talk. It's the Archbishop from the regional capital, Bamenda.
School is not going on normally, but this is also part of learning which means that it is part of going to school. So I thank you very much for coming to learn, okay? Yes. And you must always learn because your future lies in education, okay? Yes. Clap for yourselves.
The Catholic Church has been trying to mediate in the conflict since it started. The Archbishop says the problem is that separatist leaders are in prison and the numerous small separatist groups aren't unified.
The government should do everything possible within its powers through dialogue. Arms will never solve this problem. You cannot win a war against your own people with guns. It's not possible. These children who are in here, when I see them, I'm almost moved to tears. They have a right to their future.
Yet during a service, Pastor Arrey tells the villagers that they too must do their part. There are still a few parents who would much rather see their children working in the fields than send them to the recreation centre.
The community has a duty to take care of the project, to love the project, and to use the facilities.
Because in the meantime, it's become possible for youngsters to even get some career training at the centre. Learn to sew or cut hair, for example. Roland Arrey's battle for education is very complex. Locally, he does what he can, while at the same time knowing that the conflict between the government and the separatists will be resolved elsewhere.
We got into this trouble because some people did not listen. Some people did not do what they were supposed to do. And this is why we're suffering.
Roland Arrey is one of the few people who is brave enough to say such things on camera. But he doesn't want to remain silent. He wants to speak for those whose future hangs in the balance.